now time to decide who is in the round of 8. Welcome in everyone to the Monday night coverage of the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series here live on RaceSpotTV from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. Welcome in everyone. Welcome to a little bit later of a Monday night start due to some server problems, but we are now live here at this race. My name is Derek Watson, joined in tonight by a special guest, Mr. Corey Ensing. Corey, welcome.
Hey guys. Thank you. Excited to be
Corey
here.
Is excited to be here. Look at this track, Corey. Look at this graphic here. This is the Roval. This is what's become the secondary track at Charlotte. You see the big, wide use of the NASCAR oval with a couple tricky left and right-hand corners in the infield.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting track to race at. I'm excited to see what these drivers could do.
These drivers have been excited for the past few weeks, Corey. Look at the right side of that graphic. Look at this playoff schedule. We did, of course, Atlanta, the Glen, and Bristol in round 1. We're doing Kansas, Dega, and the Roval in round 2. And the next round, Vegas, Homestead, and Martinsville. In some ways, round 3, Corey, is sort of like the most calm of the 3 rounds.
Yeah, seriously. A lot of just, you got the half miles or mile and a half there, and then you got Martinsville, that's a track. Pretty fun there. So it's going to be a fight tonight, I think, to try and get into that.
Here's why it's going to be a fight. Look at this graphic, Corey. So this is our current rounds. Now, Bradley Burke, listed in 4th, actually is already advanced by his win at Dega last week. So Burke actually is in. No question there. But let's run it down. Agnell Phillip, Cody Harris, Michael Laraya, Sam Nieto. I would say all these guys, at least the top 3, are pretty well safe on points coming into tonight. Nieto, Ross Cato, Philip Irons, Brandon Gass. That's who's in right now. Then you got Austin Coop, Thomas George, Manatzi Major, and Eric Papineau. Corey, if you look at these points, I mean, realistically, minus Eric Papineau, who probably is in a win and in scenario. Look at that gap between like Manatzi Major and Philip Irons. It is 10 points separating 5 drivers.
Yeah, position's going to be everything tonight. Just getting all the points that you can.
Of course, the points will be handed out in multiple forms, and we'll talk about that because there's not only the race points, but also the midway race points that we'll get into as time goes on. Well, speaking of what can happen here at the track, qualifying is kicking off here at the Charlotte Roval. This, of course, in Corey, in some ways, you would say is almost sort of the kicking off point for the modern era of NASCAR as far as new road courses. For a long time, it was purely just the Glen and Sonoma. Then the Roval came along. And it felt like the floodgates open, and now there's all these road courses we've experimented with.
Yeah, especially with the next gen car that was built with like a supercar type of mind. They're definitely catering to more road courses. It's a fun car to drive on road courses. It's quite a blast.
And here's one of the more successful RSR drivers, Cody Harris, coming up through the banking back onto NASCAR turns, if you will, down this back straight. Corey, talk us through how difficult this chicane is right here.
Oh, it's so difficult. You gotta brake at the right time, make sure you don't lock up, and then you actually want to use the curbing and those sausage curbs for the optimal line through. So to carry enough speed through there is just huge.
Here's Sam Nieto, an Ohio native in that number 2 car, coming now down through NASCAR 3 and 4. Now into this chicane. This will be the last time possibly in iRacing, Corey, that will have this version, of that chicane right there, because in real life, that has become a tighter chicane as Sam Nieto locks it up there and probably does not get to count that qualifying lap.
Yeah, that's real unfortunate coming out of that chicane. You want to carry as much speed as you can for your qualifying lap, so hopefully it gets the second time around.
Yeah, and here's the number 9 machine. Look at him, got way up high out of that corner. That's Jaron Weinmeister. Got way up high there. So he'll have a hard time carrying momentum through. Here he comes now through those last chicanes and up to the start-finish line. And as you said, so we were talking, Corey, about that new chicane right there is getting tighter and slower in real life. And who knows, maybe by the next time we come here on the iRacing schedule, we'll have that version of the track.
Yeah, at this rate, probably. iRacing likes to keep up on the NASCAR tracks, and especially Charlotte. So I'm excited to run the new layout. That last chicane could be quite tricky.
So you see Weinmeister there outside the blue line. That is not an off track in iRacing. That does count as a battle lap still. Now coming down here through the infield, sort of this oddly shaped, almost like oval-like shape inside the infield that leads you back out, basically to what NASCAR 1 and 2 sort of resembles almost the Daytona road course in that way, right?
Yeah, yep. Especially turn 8 there coming back onto NASCAR turn 1. It's a lot like the corner at Daytona. You just want to carry as much speed as you can coming out. But that whole section from 6 to 8 is one of the hardest sections on the track.
Riding on board now with Peter Irons. Peter's found himself down in P7, I believe, coming into these playoffs tonight. A driver who has had multiple wins this season, a driver who really dominated in the first round of the playoffs. Is really at the danger of the cut line. So here he is now trying to get a lap in here. He's already at 45 seconds. About a minute 20 is roughly what we're going to look at on average laps tonight at the road course to give you an idea. And here's that Sprite car Corey told you about. Always loving that Sprite sodas, Minazzi Major.
Yeah, I love his paint scheme. Just a standout guy. I'm rooting for him tonight.
There you go. Sometimes that's how we root for drivers, is by the paint scheme. Well, there's someone right there. That's Thomas George. Well, the groundskeeper has the day off tomorrow, Corey, because Thomas George has just mowed the grass.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate for his lap. Hopefully he can recover, and hopefully that wasn't his second lap.
And hopefully not as well. Here's Agnell Phillip. Comes in tonight second in points, right below Bradley Burke, who has that guaranteed lock. Agnell here has had success in multiple seasons of RSR. In some ways feels almost like a lock for the next round of the playoffs. Here he is, Corey, winding it down and using those curves like you talked about.
Yeah, so the key there, you saw it, was you get those left sides in between the first and second curve on entry, and it holds up. So if you don't take that, you don't carry enough speed through there.
And here he now is coming to that final chicane, gets a little bit of curb twice, and up here, let's see what that lap time is. Going to be a minute 21.77, and that's going to put him P3 on the board, Corey.
Yeah, that was good. I was surprised he didn't use a little bit of grass there in that last chicane, on entry. Oh, and we got a Thomas George hitting the wall there.
Again, Thomas George with issues tonight, so that's the second time we've seen that car having problems. Well, longer qualifying session here, Corey. In the road courses, they're going to give him 10 minutes to complete 2 laps. We realistically probably won't need all of it. So we'll see if some drivers use it for extra practice time. All right, well, taking a look around the track, waiting to see who's still left on track, if anyone here. You see on the left side of your screen, most drivers have completed a run. Here's Austin Coop. Austin, a former RSR broadcaster in previous seasons, has now hopped in the car. Run that, look at that. Is that a Baja Blast Mountain Dew scheme?
Yeah, that thing is really cool. Baja Blast, one of the best flavors in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess maybe practicing pit relationship. Tell you what, you could never claim you didn't see him in the middle of a wreck, because that thing's going to stick out like a sore thumb with how bright and colorful that Baja Blast scheme is. Well, taking a look around the track, as I said, don't see that many cars left. Matt Danson, I believe, is on a lap. But other than that, just most cars here have already completed their runs. We'll see if we can find Matt Danson on track. Maybe we can get a view of him here in a moment, as Matt is now up through turn 5. See if we can get a camera on him. But most drivers you see, Corey, have completed their runs. Just going to kind of wait and see. So when you get in a moment like this, Corey, where you've completed your runs, here's Matt. Let's watch this. This will be, here's turn 8. This is that tricky one you talked about up into NASCAR 1. And man, he hopped that car and almost hit the wall, Corey.
Yeah, that's like I said, so tough. You want to get close to the wall on the inside, and then close to the wall on exit there. So looks like he is blowing through the last chicane. I think he's on his outlap. So
yeah, he is on his outlap. Can't confirm. So he's trying to wiggle the car there. Is he trying to warm the tires up?
Must be.
He'll come down through his hot laps here to about 2.5 minutes. So realistically, he's only probably going to get. He's going to come down
he's
again.
pitting.
Yeah, I'm surprised. He doesn't have a lap on the board, so he'll start towards the back of the field. I thought maybe he was going to only get 1 lap in with what time is left remaining. So I was going to ask you, Corey, when you're in a driver spot like this, it's a long qualifying, maybe longer than it needs to be. You've got your laps in. Would you prefer to kind of sit back and relax and chill for a moment? Or are you the type of driver who wants to go out and put more practice laps in since the time is available?
It all depends on the track. For this track, I would be out there running laps. It's so tricky that just making sure you got your muscle memory down perfect is the way to go. But most ovals, it's just to sit back, relax, and try to hone in for the race.
Yeah, I would agree with the ovals. I'm totally on board with that opinion. Only a minute 35 left in qualifying. Want to thank you for watching here tonight live on RaceSpotTV. Of course, we are not yet done with this season. It's the finale season of RSR. A few races left. We got the round of 8 that will decide the round of 4. And then the thing about round of 4, Evan Pasoko and myself are going to do an extended pregame show and talk about the history of RSR, maybe show off some highlights, bring in a few drivers to talk, and really kind of send RSR off in the best way that we know how. Well, here we are, beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway. So lots of seating here, a track that really gets used twice a year now, Corey. And a lot of, at first, a lot of people were skeptical about this idea of putting a road course on the schedule. And man, this thing seems very polarizing, doesn't it? You either love or hate this road course. There's no middle ground.
Yeah, I mean, from the fans, from the drivers, everybody is all over the place with opinion.
Yeah, well, here's what we know. Here's our starting grid tonight. The RSR starting grid is going to start with Peter Irons on the pole, a 1:19.423. Cody Harris, P2, half a second off. Keep that in mind as the race goes on. Then you got Agno Phillip and Jaron Weimeister, 3rd and 4th in row 2. Then Ross Cato and Michael Laraya are P5 and P6.
And then in P7, we have Brandon Gass with, on the outside of him, Sam Nito. In 9th, Austin Coop. And 10th, Eric Papanow. And then rounding out the field, Munatsi Major in 11th.
Yep, those are the cars that took a time. The cars that did not take a time, we'll wait and see if they actually are ready to race. Matt Danson, Thomas George, and Stephen Soa. Well, here we are. The qualifying session is over. It's now time to grid these cars and get everyone ready to go. Now, this, of course, is a long pace lap, Corey. I think it's a minute 20 under quote unquote full speed racing. So it's probably a 2.5 minute pace lap. As a driver, how do you get in that driver headspace in this long of a pace lap? Like, how do you get yourself ready?
You just kind of go through the motions, just feeling out the car, wiggling back and forth, and just getting comfortable and getting your mindset ready to go.
Boy, speaking of comfortable, that's what they're not on track. Look at that, 99 degrees on track, 80 degrees for an air temp here. It's currently 2:41 virtual sim time. So likely the track's going to get a little hotter before it gets cooler. Some maybe not the hottest temps we've seen, Corey, but definitely, you prefer it to be cooler on a road course.
Yeah, it's up there. And this track especially, you want to watch your tires. And with that hot, it's going to be easy to get those tires too hot for the race.
Yep, so here we are. This is that specialized start. We've seen some of the courses now. I think Charlotte, Pocono, the two that come to mind. I think Michigan, I think we do this now, if I remember right. This sort of, I don't know what you call this, rally cross or land rush style lineup. But here at the Roval, look how hard it is to get yourself turned in air for a couple spots to get this pace lap started and pulled away. So Corey, you talked about, you kind of got to get your headspace right. You got to kind of make sure your controls work. You got to make sure you maybe in the right Discord channels with your teammates or what have you. But this long of a pace lap, does it sort of break your headspace? Does it annoy you? Does it distract you? Or how do you feel about long pace laps?
I mean, it doesn't matter for me too much. A lot of times I'm looking at my competitors, seeing what they're doing, kind of getting an idea of like who I need to watch, who I don't need to worry about, and then also kind of getting a race start game plan down is a good time to think about it.
Well, speaking of the details of this race, Corey, just keep in mind it's 55 laps The only time we'll have a yellow flag will be at the halfway point. So at the conclusion of lap 23, the caution will come out. That's when the halfway points will be paid out to the top 10. With how close the playoffs are, I'd imagine those points are going to matter a lot for tonight's race. These are all fixed setups. We're using the iRacing fixed setup. There's no open setup. So this is purely about how well you as a driver can muscle this car around. No fast repairs, so you want to be careful with the car, Corey, and make sure that you are behaving, not involved in a wreck, that you're avoiding other wrecks, and keeping a clean car. Oh, man, if you're Peter Irons, Corey, this is great news. You came into tonight P7 right ahead of the cut line, but you're starting P1. That must make you breathe a little bit of sigh of relief.
Oh, for sure. And especially on a road course, starting pole is huge. You can kind of get that early start, pull away, and you don't need to worry as much about draft or what have you to others catch up to you.
Here we come down the NASCAR back straight. You see that's that specialized, almost like a bus stop of sorts in effect. Of course, this track, not exactly created by Tilda, but definitely has that feel of Coda and other tracks he has built before. So you'll see some drivers compare it to Coda. Some drivers will use the resemblance of a Daytona road course, but really this track is all just one of its own. Well, as we enter the final season, for the last time, RSR is going to go green flag racing on a road course. From here on out, it's 1.5 miles, 2 miles, a short course, and everything else from here. No more road courses in RSR history. Well, here we are. Pace cards down, Corey. Let's get it ready. Peter Irons going to enter that final chicane. We'll wait for Barney, the flag man, to give the word. Peter Irons controls the start, waiting for that green flag. There it is. We're green flag racing at the Roval. In the back of the field already, Corey, but up front, Peter Irons, as you said, has quickly put that gap on the field. Look at that gap between himself and Cody Harris.
Yeah, that's huge to start the race. He's just hoping he can continue that on.
I said trouble in the backfield. Matt Danson, we'll get a replay eventually in the 38. Probably heard the car screeching out. I saw it hit a wall. Not sure what happened to cause that. We'll find that out eventually. But here we are. Look at this on screen here. Everyone's kind of single filed it out and ready to race here. So, Corey, at this point, are you surprised they're already single file, or is this the proper style of racing for the Roval?
No, this is how the Roval goes. It's that middle section is so tough to drive side by side. It gets single file so quick.
Well, this is a very fast road course, unlike some other ones, maybe Sonoma or Coda with those longer lap times. Here we are. We're almost all the way through the first lap. I just said green flag not too long ago. As we're taking a look here at some of the cars on track, there's Michael Araya with Ross Cato right behind him. And just like that, they've already completed their first of 55 laps, Corey. So right now, the clock up top says time. Well, hold on, let's come back. That's Sam Nieto who got it turned around there. That's out up in the NASCAR 1. And you know what? He's okay. No one hit him, I don't think.
Yeah, now he's just going to focus on keeping a clean car until that caution halfway through the race.
See how well that works for him. Look at that. That's the gap right there, Corey. That's a great visualization right there between first and second place. Man, Peter Irons, pardon me, is just right now class of the field here on lap 2.
Yeah, he's already almost 2 seconds ahead of second place in 2 laps. He's definitely running away with it, but hope he keeps his car clean.
So now the questions that maybe gets into Cody Harris's mind, Corey, do you start to think about, do you want to get up there? Do you want to race him? Do you want to push hard? Or are you sort of hoping that maybe Peter Irons is pushing himself and he'll come back to you?
Yeah, I mean, I would just try to get in a groove, find my rhythm. You got that caution halfway through, so just holding on to that second place and giving it a run the second half while putting on the pressure of Peter is the way to go.
Let's take a look back in the field. This is Ross Cato, the Georgia native. Michael O'Ryan right ahead of him. This is a little bit closer gap than what we're seeing for the lead. This might be one of our closer gaps on the track. So they're up top on the right side. You see those number boards, Corey, what we see at most road courses, at least most American road courses. We use those number boards to help dictate braking points. At the Roval, which number do you think is the appropriate board to start braking?
Honestly, right about just when they start. I think it's 4 board. Somewhere in there between the 4 and 3 is where I brake, and I barely make it. So
yeah, it feels like in a way, as much as we talk about the modifications to the next gen car and how they're more road course friendly, and they are compared to previous iterations, the brakes, maybe a little bit more work.
Yeah, they're somewhat there. They can help. That's about it.
Yeah, they help. That's maybe the best way to put it. Look at that. Up on the opposite side of those curves is the 9, spinning it, and got it. Holding up Michael Araya, though. Man, look at that. That's a big fishtail, Corey.
Yeah, I mean, these cars are hard to catch once they get sideways, so props on Jaron to hold that together.
Well, that hits Michael Araya and Ross Cato up one more spot apiece. That puts them 4th and 5th on the board. My goodness, both those guys did big wheelies right there on 2 wheels.
Yeah, they're using up all the track there.
Now working lap 4 of 55 here. There's Weinmeister again, and I don't think he saved that one, or he kind of did, but he's losing lots of time here on this course.
Starting to get a little flustered there. It's just let's hope that he holds his car straight.
So let's talk about that for a minute. That's an important word. I like that word, flustered, because as a driver, that's what happens when mistakes happen, or maybe someone bumps you, or what have you. There's Papa now. Whew. It's kind of, in the words, is it the Killers? You know, it was only a kiss.
Yeah, that was maybe a little more than a kiss, but
so, you mentioned the word flustered. So talk about that. When you get flustered as a driver on a road course and you're wiggling the car and you're not hitting your braking points, how do you manage that? Like, a lot of drivers maybe let it consume them, but as a driver, how do you let that frustration go and refocus? How do you do it?
Honestly, it's going back to the basics. If I can get my mindset back to the basics, say, here's my braking points, and here's my throttle points, here's my turn in. Just go back to that and get in the groove. Don't think about time. I'll work my way back.
Look at this double camera shot. The top shot is the back end of Michael Araya back to Ross Cato. The bottom shot is Ross Cato to Michael Araya. So you guys can see the front and the back, maybe the front and the middle of Ross Cato's car, and he's closing that gap a little bit here on Michael Araya. Let's take a look last time by Cato, a 1:21.072. Oh no, and Araya a 1:21.023. So almost identical lap times for these drivers.
Yeah, this is going to be a good battle here.
Back here, this is the cars maybe having a bit tougher time back here, Corey. This is Weinmeister in the 9. We saw him. We saw Matt Danson, beginning of the race, had a hard time. Brandon Gass back here in P7. And these drivers, Corey, are already pretty well back on the field and just kind of having their own race.
Yeah, this is a good 3-way battle right now. You can see it's tough to pass here, so this is exciting.
Tough to pass is a great word. You see Austin Coop up there in that Baja Blast machine just to the front of that camera shot here. And right now, Brandon Gass maybe is just trying to compete. If he knows that other cars are having problems in this race, he's got to be concerned, because one bad contact could really affect his day. Well, there's Michael Araya on track. That's actually Ross Cato behind him, not Brandon Gass. We'll get that fixed in a moment here. And see here, once again, last time by, Corey's taking a look. That's time, I mean, Mariah's barely pacing it, maybe a 1/10 of a second per lap, but when you look at it that way, right there, the graphic on the screen with your own 2 eyes, it's harder to tell that they're barely growing gaps, because they're just really stuck to each other almost.
Yeah, that's how this track goes. It's all about the tenths.
Yeah, that's where it is sometimes. Now, both these drivers are pretty well safe as far as the playoffs are concerned, I believe, here. The Riot came into tonight 4th in points, and then Ross Cato is right there, P6 in points. So Kato started tonight 9 points to the good on Austin Coop. So the fact he's still ahead of him means he's probably safe, but I'd love to get a win here and just, remove any doubt.
Yeah, for sure. Even just getting in front of him for this halfway point is huge. So
here's Lariah in Kato right here, both still using the curbs in that final chicane, trying to make their laps comfortable here. Last time, most drivers here, Corey, turning here a 120 or a 121 at the top of the field. And that seems to be the pace we've all fallen to here for the most part. There's Austin Coop, by the way, in that bright, I don't call it, it's like a Mountain Dew green machine. I don't have another word for that green.
the Baja Blast machine, I think.
Baja Blast green, that's what it is. You're right. He's currently running in P7, so he's trying to secure his way into the playoffs. So look at this nice little line right here. This is the 38. That's going to be Austin Coop. That's Matt Danson back there. And then the 9 of Weinmeister. So these guys are all, and it's important right now in a playoff scenario. These guys are still racing for something, Corey. It may not be the win right now, but these guys all know these point battles matter.
Yeah, for sure. Every position, like I said earlier, matters a ton. So it may look like they're just kind of riding around, but I can guarantee each one of these guys are fighting their hardest.
Yeah, just remember tonight, Austin Coop came in just 1 point below Brandon Gapp. That's the difference in the cut line to tonight. Now, right now, Brandon Gass on track. I'm trying to find him in my standings here, actually. Give me a second. Sorry, I apologize. Where the heck is Brandon Gass? He is P8.
Right behind Austin Coop.
That's right. Yeah, he is. I was looking on the standings out on my screen. Oh, Austin Coop. Whoa. That car was pointed the wrong way.
Yeah, good on him to save that. That was huge.
Look at this right here, 7th and 8th, and there Weinmeister got in the middle. Oh man, that's a tight pass.
Yeah, that's good. Wow.
Wow, indeed. That's, oh man. If you're Brandon Gass, how nervous are you that there's a car on the outside through this little infield right here?
Honestly, it's the outside car I'd be concerned about. So just side by side through that section is one of the hardest things that you'll do on this track.
So I told you right now that Austin Coop came in 1 point down to Brandon Gass. So right now Austin Coop is 1 spot ahead of Brandon Gass. They are literally at a tie right now, Corey. Now RSR has some processes for breaking ties we can talk about later. Right now, if you're Austin Coop, you're sort of praying you get faster and pass someone, but you're also kind of now rooting for Jaron Weinmeister to pass Brandon Gass.
Yeah, for sure. If I were Austin Coop, I'd just keep my eyes forward. It'd be very easy to watch that relative and see if I'm pulling away or not, but just keep moving forward and hope you pull away.
You know, in the words of the famous movie, "Just keep swimming" would be the advice some people would give you. Oh, that's wall.
It's not how you want to do it. Chase Elliott did.
Yeah, that's what came to mind for me too, was a Chase Elliott move. What's that, like lap 1 or lap 2 of the Roval that year? Now, remember, maybe not all bad news because Chase came back and won the race after hitting the wall. But I think in Chase's case, they put a yellow out, so maybe he got to make up that spot and that time lost by hitting the wall. Well, Steven Soa there in the Evan Pasoko painted machine is having a hard time. By the way, shout out to Evan Pasoko, not in the booth tonight. Evan, I don't want to say too much. It's part of the evacuation zone. I don't want to tell you where he lives. Probably won't let me do that, but he's part of the evacuation zone, so Evan is safe. I heard from him right as broadcast started. They have gotten where they need to be. He said his 3-hour drive, Corey, was turned into an 8-hour drive of evacuating, but he is safe. And I miss Evan. I'm thanking for everything here, but we'll see him probably next week here back in RSR. Well, Corey, this battle right here, 0.3 of a second between Lariah and Kato. This is about what it's been, it feels like, for the whole race. These guys are just equal is the best word for it. A 21.887, a 21.479. That time by Ross Kato was half a second faster than Michael Lariah.
Yeah, I'd want to point this out here. Agnell Phillip is in the pits right now. I saw he hit the wall in that back chicane. Not sure what kind of damage is on that car, but probably going at least a couple laps down.
Yeah, that's a great call out. We'll see if we can find it. Here it is. That's what you saw through that chicane. Oh, that's a hard hit in the wall. That's probably going to be a couple minutes of repairs, if not more. Now, Agnefola came into tonight second in points. He came in well ahead of the cut line. He came in 30.91 minus 30.62. He came in almost 30 points to the good. So his playoff hopes likely still alive, but you still don't want to risk it.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, right now he's hoping for a wave around at that caution. So if he can get back out, that's for sure.
That'll be a great question, because right now we saw Steven Soa hit the wall earlier. He is 4 laps down. So the question will be, how long does Agnefola need on the pit road, and which of them is, in fact, lucky dog eligible? Which of them maybe gets a lap back, or maybe each of them are hoping that someone has some kind of problem that can give them a spot or two. But Agnefola said likely good on playoff points, likely in the round of 8 to race next week at Vegas. Oh, look at this battle here. Oh, that's Austin Coop making the pass. Oh, Austin Coop on the wall. And by the way, that is Agnefola right there, Corey. I'm pretty sure the 94, so he's already back out on the track.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was just a awkward re-entry or something, but Austin Coop not really happy. He was bump drafting Agnefola on that straight.
Yeah, likely knowing that Agnefola back off the pit road, I think your assessment's going to be correct. I think probably Agnefola took the normal pit exit road, which is, by road course standards, I think he would agree barely a pit exit road, and probably just found himself in the way.
Yeah, for sure. And with this type,
yeah. So talk to me, Corey. What's going on right there? Not technically in the car, but driver-wise. Now you've almost hit that wall twice. You had the contact. You had the issue Austin Coop for Agnefola. Probably a little hot in the side of the car right now, right?
Yeah, if I were Agnefola, I'm probably really hot. Just you're kind of out of the running. You're 1 lap down, not really running for much. Just it's tough to keep mental strength there, but let's hope he keeps running safe and smooth.
Austin Coop that time, no one to blame out there in that wall again, scrubbing that wall. Now, Corey, the good news for for Austin Coop, he's not going to get engine damage per se hitting the wall like that. But what's he likely to do to the car if he keeps scrubbing that wall?
Toe damage for sure. That's just, oh man. Yeah, you hit it the wrong way and just boom, there goes 3 minutes of damage.
Yeah, you're right. And that 53 machine likely could break a toe link if not careful here. That's the replay in the top left of your screen. Bottom right is the live shot. Is now Austin Coop and others. That's Jaron Weinmeister from the inside, trying to make a pass, backs out of it. Oh, look at that, cooked it. Coop now up through the chicane. He'll have to do a slowdown penalty here. See him up top, slower, trying to serve that penalty here, or that slowdown penalty that will be enforced by iRacing. And man, Austin Coop now the person having a hard time and possibly throwing away his playoff hopes.
Yeah, Coop really needs to calm down here and kind of regain his mental focus if he wants a shot at this.
There's the person he's trying to pass right there. The front of that shot, this blue and silver car is going to come back into camera shot in a moment. That's Brandon Gass. He's now being run down by Jaron Weinmeister. And man, that Austin Coop, I mean, he just cooked that corner really hard in the chicane, Corey. Watch this again. Tell me what you think's happening right here.
I'm thinking he's watching his mirror. The 9 machine, they're giving a little bit of a look like he's going to make a pass. And if Coop was watching his mirror too much, just boom, right by the breaking point.
Here we go. This is Michael Laraya and Ross Cato. Look how closer they've gotten. This is now closer than it's been. This is actually not closer. It looks that way, but they're now half a second apart, so they're a little more apart. Look at that difference in that line between what Laraya and Cato took there. Laraya got up on the banking sort of mid-track. Cato was sort of cutting it a little bit. Which of those two lines is more effective?
Definitely cutting it. You don't get a penalty or anything from iRacing for going low through there over those painted lines. So you want to take as little track as you can.
See, as they come back in the camera shot here, you'll see that Ryan maybe opened up more of a gap on Ross Cato. Now you see the timing up on the top left of your screen for the overall leaderboard. Well, as we work lap 14 here, some of the cars now coming into that infield, some cars leaving it. It's Peter Irons. Look at this. Peter Irons is almost 4 seconds to the good, Corey. That is an impressive number here for any driver at the Roval.
Yeah, for sure. He's just being calm, smooth, and consistent right now. So Cody Harris is holding up with him. I'm interested to see what the second half will do. But
yeah, right now, if you're Cody Harris, you got to be stoked there's a halfway caution.
Yes, for sure. That 3 seconds, that 3.5 seconds to Peter Irons, that be cut down to nothing. So
see Cody Harris here, the Ohio native, the Ohio State alum, is down here ready to start lap 15 here. So let's walk through your top 5. It's Irons, Harris, Lariah, Cato, and Danson, your top 5. So Cody, here is Cody Harris. He's now coming down here through the infield. This turns 3 and 4. Walk me through an effective lap here. How much throttle are you using? Walk me through it like you're racing it.
I mean, throttle-wise, it's like you got an egg underneath your throttle. You don't want the rear end to step out. I want you to keep an eye on Harris's steering wheel and how much he's working that. It's just all the elevation changes. Your car is light going up, heavy going down. You're just working steering, brake, throttle, whatever to keep your car straight here.
This is by far the closest battle on track, so we're going to keep coming back to it from time to time. Lariah and Cato, I mean, half a second, little more, little less. We can't change it lap to lap. These two drivers are the closest battle on track at the same time. We're about to be at lap 16 of 55. Here's Peter Irons. Corey, here comes down this final screen. No braking markers here by signs. So how do you find a braking marker when there really are none to assist you?
So in the Cup car, pretty much you're braking right after you pass the pit lane. And then, I don't know if you saw Peter Irons use a bit of that grass there. It's actually pavement here for that infield grass area. So you can use your left sides on that for the braking zone. You can just watch here on board with how difficult these next set of turns are.
Here, Peter Irons is now working that infield. In a moment, he'll come back down to turn 8. This will put him back up into NASCAR 1, just to kind of confuse numbers a little bit. Oh, man, getting real close to the walls there.
Yeah, you have to get those fast times that Peter Irons putting down right now.
And here's that one machine. At different times, Eb and I have joked during the successful runs that Peter Irons, we'd entered the Iron Age of RSR. And man, tonight it seems like we have returned to the Iron Age here because he is putting on a clinic.
Yeah, for sure. Peter Irons is a great driver. I've raced against him multiple times. Always fun to race against and fun to watch.
And Michael Lariah having a great night of his own, but look at that, 16 seconds back on the leader. That's how far back that is. And here, now at the bottom of your screen, you see a different battle. This is Thomas George and Eric Papineau. Eric Papineau came into tonight last in the points of the playoff standings. Really, unfortunately for himself, Corey, likely in a win-and-in scenario. And at least right now, running a P11, that doesn't seem exactly possible for Eric Papineau.
Yeah, doesn't look to be running the lap times and pace that he needs to win, but he might come around and surprise us in the second half.
Here's Michael Lariah again. Remember, this is turns 3, 4, 5, and 6 is how we label these infield area right here. It's just, if you see a track map from like up top, it's a flat view, Corey. It just kind of looks like a little short oval inside a bigger oval almost.
Yeah, you got 4 right turns right in a row. They're all banked. It's a fun section of corners.
Here's Steven Sobel, by the way. He also now has cooked that chicane going really slow right there. So that'll I guess shorten the amount of slowdown penalty he serves for iRacing. But man, already 4 laps down. Not a great night for Steven Soa. And here he is now, Michael Araya. This is that chicane, by the way, is turns I guess 10, 11, 12, and 13. Corey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've raced this track. I've watched people race at this track. I've commentated this track. You cannot convince me that's 4 corners. I don't care what you say. That is not 4 corners.
It's NASCAR. I mean, they do what they want with the corner naming. So
unreal. In total, this track has 16 corners. The track debuted. I mean, it doesn't feel that long ago, Corey. If you think about it now, it's been what, 2018, 2019 when this track first was ran in real life. So it's been around for a while. And to much acclaim the first couple of years, I believe, just due to maybe more so the drama of the race. Remember, a couple of times there's been playoff dreams dashed at this Roval in the last lap. And so this track has gotten a lot of acclaim. We got a rain race here a couple years ago for the Xfinity Series, and lots of exciting races happening.
Yeah, I mean, it just caters to it. You got high-speed corners, you got slow passing sections. It has it all, and it's compact too. There's not much downtime.
Here's Michael Araya again using those curves that Corey talked about. Watch him now come out of that. That's 10, 11, 12, 13. Now a long way around. Here we go. Anti-Roval for a second. This is 1 corner to turn 14 here. This oval gets 1 corner compared to NASCAR style, and then turns 15 and 16 as you're watching Kato and Araya. What we're going to do right now, Corey and I are going to step aside. We're going to go quiet and let you guys listen in to the sights and sounds of the Roval and RaceSpot fan immersion. There you are, a few moments of RaceSpot fan immersion. You can sit there and just listen to those engines roar, listen to the sights and the sounds, or I guess listen to the sounds and look at the sights. It's probably the right way to say that here at the Charlotte Roval. Well, as we were doing that, Minazzi Major wide the back of the camera. But now the battle, look at this, Ross Cato and Matt Danson is sort of the battle. Danson has caught up to Cato here. Danson, by the way, not really talked about him since the opening laps. He's up 7 spots, Corey, since the start of the race.
Yeah, he's doing real well to work his way up through the field, and especially this track, it's hard to pass. So he's doing really good, and excited to see this battle.
Danson, one of the original drivers in the playoffs in the round of 16, did not advance past the point round. So he's out here just for fun. He has nothing to race for except for a win. That's got to sometimes be in some ways, that's got to be a stress-free way to race in this time.
Yeah, for sure. You're kind of just out here having fun, doing whatever. It's especially fun racing around people that are actually racing for something. Sometimes they make more mistakes than normal. So
now, maybe you can be more aggressive in a race call because you only have one goal here, which is win. You don't have to worry about points management. You don't have to worry about halfway points or none of that stuff. You're out here for one purpose only. But look at this. Ross Cato has fallen back off of Michael Araya, by the way. That's now up to a 3-second gap. So this is the new closest battle on track for Matt Danson. So see what Danson can do with this. Here we are in lap 22, by the way. So the end of next lap, the end of lap 23. Then that's when the caution will come out. Halfway points would be paid out. Here's Agnafila back on pit road, Corey. He is 2 laps down. That is an additional lap from what I just saw. Not sure if something happened there, or if he's trying to get in there before the stage ends and get his pit stop done.
Looking at that damage, I'm guessing he probably hit a wall or something again.
Wait and see if the RaceSpot machine finds anything. Right. Also of note, Eric Papineau and Minazzi Major are now a lap down. So right now, Papineau would be in that lucky dog spot when the caution flies at the conclusion of lap 23. So here's the battle. Once again, Cato and Danson, P4, P5 is again we come down through the infield here. This track is got to be what, the fastest, or at least the second fastest road course in the NASCAR schedule. It's really got the pace of a Watkins Glen. It's hard to not talk about the same parts of the track, Corey, because it feels like we're always right back there.
Yeah, seriously. And yeah, it definitely feels like a Watkins Glen. It's super flowy. Ooh, we can see Agno here.
You know what? I don't know. I mean, he hit that curb, obviously, but the wall, I don't know. I don't think he actually hit anything. And here's Eric Papineau.
Sure.
He looked to be slow. He is slow. I'm not sure what that's about. But I don't think Philip hit anything.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing on pit road. He might have just, his mental state isn't there, and he might be calling it. Not sure.
Either, so wait and see if he comes back out or what happened. Right now, as I said, Eric Papineau looks to be in that catbird seat here. So we'll wait for the caution to come out to be for most, if not all, the cars finish lap 23. Is what admin Evan Pasoko left us with a note for. So we'll see if that caution flies. And we'll see when we can reset here in the moment here or two. This is the battle for P4 again. Looking at Matt Danson. So if you're Matt Danson right now, Corey, and you're trying to get here ahead of Ross Cato, what do you do? How do you gain time at this racetrack?
If you're in a battle like this, you gotta focus on the corners right before passing points. So especially coming out of turn 8 here onto the NASCAR turn 1, you want to carry as much speed as you can to make a pass into that chicane.
See right now that looks like Danson's trying to be patient and calm and set up a pass when he feels it's necessary or possible. And see if that can happen. Here's Ross Cato right in the bottom of that track, almost down here, maybe deeper than you run it in an actual like NASCAR oval race, all the way to the blue line, and then tracks back out.
Oh, here we go.
Oh. Ooh, Corey, talk about that pass that you see there. How does that work? How do you make that work and not end up making contact?
It takes a lot of guts to do that. Definitely some friendly racing there that could go one of two ways. So glad to see it work out, but that's risky.
Checked with race officials, there was not a yellow thrown like we thought there would be, but racing has continued here. Halfway points will pay out at the end of lap 23. So we'll see if we can get a comment on those from someone and how that's going to work, and maybe we get a list of lap 23, but we'll do that later. But right now, the Australian native Matt Danson, I mean, he just really got brave and just sort of threw it in there. Watch this, Corey. Talk me through it.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a situation where it looked like Matt stepped out late, which means that Ross Cato braked earlier than Matt expected, and he just stepped out and said, hey, I'm going to make this pass rather than trying to woe it up. So
here's your leader, Peter Irons. Right now, he has a 4.5 second gap over Cody Harris. And that gap is growing as time goes on. A little wall scrub, but nothing to be too concerned about here. So right now, if you are the leaders, oh, you know what, Corey? I cannot do math. You know, I said lap. I said 23. No, halfway is 27 and a half. I did Ohio education, so maybe we didn't math. Where did I get 23 from? That's 46. Wow, okay. More caffeine for this guy. All right, so no yellow yet. That will happen in a couple laps. I apologize for being wrong about that. Lap 27, because 27 and a half is halfway, as Evan Pasoka has reminded me in our private chat. This is why I need Evan for the math. This is why Evan gets paid the big bucks in the eNASCAR voice, Corey, because he can do the math that I can't.
You do the math on spot?
On spot. That guy does a lot of math. He does impressive stuff with numbers and spreadsheets and math live during races that most people have no idea about. That guy has all kinds of stuff prepared to do math here. Well, here's Michael Laraya now, all by himself a little bit here. He's got, 23 seconds to the car in front of him and about 3.5 seconds to the car behind him. So now the challenge, and this is what I think happens to a lot of road course races, and a lot of road course drivers, Corey, is how do you keep motivated? How do you keep racing when you're the only person you're racing, for lack of better words? Yeah, there's other cars, but I think part of the thrill of oval racing is we get excited about racing someone. But now Michael Reyes is kind of running.
Yeah, it's just going back to you rely on your points and just stay focused on that, not try to let your mind wander, because it can work you into a hole real quick. You just gotta turn by turn and take it as it goes.
Oh, look at that. Well, now you and I talked about this in pre-race. We were watching Cody Harris's webcam a little bit, Corey, and I was kind of stunned by the amount of wheel usage here, but you said that's more normal than I think it is.
Yes. Especially elevation changes here. Your car is light going uphill, so you're kind of working the wheel to keep grip there, and then going downhill, it just gets really heavy, so you're working that. The cars have high horsepower, so you're working that throttle and kind of trying to keep the car straight. It's a lot. It's not like driving a Formula car or a GT3 around here, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think my surprise maybe comes from more watching them do it on the ovals. Very few ovals, actually, maybe on any oval, if the driver's using the wheel that much, they're having a very not good day using the wheel that much. Well, here's Cody Harris. Now that we know where the real timer is, Cody Harris has decided to pit before the yellow comes out, Corey.
Yeah, I see that, and Peter Irons joining them down there too. Interesting choice, but they got the pace to do it, so.
And man, I'm surprised. Look at this. Not that big a time difference. If you watch when the tires went up and the tires went down between Irons and Harris, it looks like Cody Harris really got a better entry on the pit road than Irons did. Look at that gap. It's closed now. I'm stunned by how close those guys were as far as that timing. Here is Matt Danson, who's currently dancing all by himself, or dancing on his own down on pit road here. I've been waiting to use that reference. That maybe no one else gets it. But
that was good. Yeah, we got everyone coming down to the pit.
And there it is. There is the yellow that I thought was happening 4 laps ago. Michael Laraya here on track still. So now, a couple of different strategies, Corey. It makes you wonder maybe who was worried about the halfway points and who wasn't. worried about them and how that's all going to play out, because if you pitted before that time came up, you definitely threw away some points.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely keeping an eye there. If you pit early before the yellow, you give up your position, but then you gain it back on the people that will pit during the yellow. So interested to see how these positions kind of line up.
So we're going to wait for official word from admins before we give you the top 10 in points, and then we'll see how they're going to line up here and who gets what as far as the points are concerned. Well, Corey, now maybe becomes the toughest part of this race for some drivers. The official iRacing caution system, which means these are long pace laps. They're slow pace laps. But the first challenge, let's talk about this, kind of humorous. Look at this. These guys are under yellow, and they're just now catching the pace car. It is difficult in a road race to catch the iRacing pace car.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can't just gas it around and catch up. It's pacing at some corners faster than you could take. So
yeah, that pace car, he has a grip hack or two, I think, because I've seen that pace car take a corner or two at the road course, and it's not really fair how that works out. Well, we're getting confirmation on the running order currently, because right now Michael Laraya is being scored P1, but as of the moment a yellow. Let's walk through what Evan Pasoko has given me for the top 10. It's Irons, Harris, Laraya, Cato, Danson, Gas, Weinmeister, Coop, Nieto, and Papanow. So the points are handed at the moment of caution. At that moment, Peter Irons is still being scored at the front. Now, we know that Laraya has to pit here, Corey. So does Cato, Gas, Nieto, Papanow, and Manazzi Major. So this is going to shake this up a little bit here and make it more interesting.
yeah, for sure. Thankfully for them, it's a small field, so even pitting here isn't going to be that big of a punishment.
Here we are. There's Manazzi Major, by the way, down at the bottom of the track, letting the field on by as the field now works its way down to this backfield chicane. But let's take a moment here, and I'm going to use my broadcast / admin powers in a second here, maybe. And we're going to see if we can get a word with Austin Coop here in just a second. 1 second here. I don't know if we can. Hold on. I'm working on that right now. Maybe I cannot. Hold on a second. Let's try that. No. Okay, apparently I cannot move Austin Coop into the room like I thought I could, so we will not get Austin Coop. Sorry, I was trying to play with admin powers that Evan Pasoko has not given me, so I will poke Evan for that in a second. Instead, I've just messed up the order of the rooms in the server. But we'll see if we can get Austin Coop in a second for you. But right now, we're going to wait. There are just drivers down pit road, Laraya and others. Obviously, 4 tires.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said earlier, tire wear is huge here, especially the rear. So you're taking all 4.
There we are. There's Austin Coop. Austin, we're going to catch up with you during the caution laps here on the broadcast. You are live. Boy, you've had a couple close calls in this race. What's going on in the car?
Yeah, actually it was going pretty well earlier on in the race, but just kind of got in a sticky situation with Agnell. He was coming out of pit road, and he normally, if you're a lap down, you let those guys by, especially if they're playoff racers, but he didn't, and then I actually hit the wall with the left side pretty good, so I've been struggling with that. So now I'm 3 points down to Brandon, and so I'm trying to do what I can to just kind of throw a wrench at it right now, because the car is pretty beat up, and I don't want to be in trouble a little more than I already am. So this is where we're at.
So it looked like that moment maybe got to you a little bit, though, because you hit the wall, I think, the next lap as well. Did it just take you a moment to kind of gather?
Well, the left front, yeah, the left front is broken actually from that hit. So I didn't know how to deal with it until like 3 laps later. So it's still fast. I just have to approach the car a little differently. I have to slow down because the left front is all boogered up.
It's all boogered up. I don't know if I've ever heard that word before, but I like it. I think that put the image in my head of exactly how you're feeling in the car, all boogered up. Well, I would ask you what your favorite soda is, but I guess I know you must be up on last guy.
Yeah, Mountain Dew all the way, dude.
There you go. Well, listen, awesome. We're going to get back to it. I appreciate you, and maybe we'll talk post-race.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, that's Austin Coop there. We're going to put him back down with his teammate, Minazzi Major. And, well, there you go, Corey. He says he broke something in the car with that wall hit.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. Well, with his lap times, was still running consistent 121s, even with that broken left front. That's impressive right there. If you've never driven with a broken toe link, it's not easy.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was thinking, man, he's like, I don't know how to drive the car. I was like, man, I don't know how you drove the car at all with the damaged left front on that car. So we'll wait and see what's going to happen here. We are not one to go. The cars are not double file. I mean, those two guys right there are double file, but the rest of the field is not here. So we're going to go one more time around here before the pace car comes down. He seems still leading the field here. The driver should get the one to go at this spot, Corey. Well, now the question I'm going to lead to is for Cody Harris. In fact, let's just do this. Can I put someone on the spot? 1 second. Let's ask Cody Harris how we do this here. 1 second, I'll move Cody. Yeah. Cody, I'm going to put you live in a broadcast booth for a second. I know we're probably, maybe hopefully talk to you later. But I want to ask you, what are your thoughts right now about Peter Irons? Can you catch him in the second part of this race?
We'll see. I'm not sure. He's got some pretty good pace, but I was also trying to take care of my car and not hit a couple of walls that break your toe like instantly, but we'll see. Should be fun. So we got Matt up here now too,
What have you learned, do you think, that maybe is applicable to the second half of this race?
I think just be more confident and where the grip is on the track, but Peter definitely has some pretty good pace, so we'll see.
All right, well, I know we're going to do it later, but I'm kind of selfish, so I'm going to do it now. OH?
I-O,
indeed. All right, we're going to put Cody Harris back down with his teammate. Cody, good luck. And we'll talk to you soon. All right, well, we move Cody back down to that Pro Altus room with his teammates. Well, Corey, it's time to get that last big deep breath in. Time to do about 23 or 24 more laps to Green Flag Racing. So how do you apply, if you are Cody Harris, he said be more confident in the car. Break that down for me. What does that mean in layman's terms?
That just means you trust your gut. You take the risks that you believe you can take and take them safely, and just run with it. Take them as they come.
All right, well, let's run through the order. It's Irons, Harris, Coop, Weinmeister, and Danson, your top 5 as we come down the back straight. Then it's going to be Lariah, Cato, Brandon Gass, Sam Nieto, and Eric Papanow, your top 10. Minazzi Major also on the lead lap. Agnew Phillips still on pit road. And then Thomas George and Steven Soa have called it a day in this 14-car field. Well, here we are, do that little chicane on the back straight. iRacing says it's 4 corners. I say it's 2 at best, but they didn't ask me for my opinion when making the safety rating charts. All right, Corey, well, here we go. Do you believe, you heard Harris say be more confident. Do you think there's a chance he closes that 4-second gap, or do you think we just continue rolling through the Iron Age?
I think he has a chance. He was gaining on irons a bit, but I think this restart is going to determine a lot here. So let's see if his confidence can pay off.
Well, confidence can be key, as can be valid restarts. We're going to be on control here with the leader, Peter Irons. That car on the right side of your screen, the black, white, and blue machine. Green flag is out. They're side by side through. Whoa, Harris lane line first. Oh, big wreck. That's Austin Coop and others. That's Lariah getting bumped. Man, Austin Coop getting sent to the back of the field. Oh, no, there's one up front. That's Matt Danson turned around.
It's a lot of chaos where I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, this restart's proven way more troublesome than the first one, and Cody Harris has quickly gotten the lead on Peter Irons. It's Harris, Irons, Cato, Nieto, and Gass, your top 5. Corey, a couple things to take away from that restart. We'll have to talk about one by one, but right now for Austin Coop, that all but probably ruins his playoff hopes.
Yeah, for sure. He's just hoping he can work his way back. He proved he had pace early on in this race. Let's see if he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, per his internal math, he thought he was 3 points down on the cut line. He heard in that interview. And then that calamity happened there on the restart. So we'll wait for the replay machines to load up. But right now, Cody Harris is putting some pace on Peter Irons. And look at that gap between Irons and Kato. That's already almost 2 seconds.
Yeah, oh yeah. Cody Harris and Peter Irons are in a league of their own in this second half.
Yeah, no need for Gina Davis or Madonna or Rosie O'Donnell there. But look at that. Oh, Coop got up high and just put a car in the wall and just sort of got himself spun there. So he got a little wide on an exit. Is that Weinmeister up there maybe? I think it is Weinmeister that he got up into the wall. And there's Matt Danson. He had a separate problem all by himself.
Yeah, and I was watching that battle for the lead there, Cody Harris, Peter Irons. Peter Irons put himself in the wall there in turn 1 as well, which allowed Cody Harris to slide on by and now have a 1 second lead.
Yeah, and also maybe Harris got a better jump too, because he beat Irons to the line. So I don't know if Irons spun the tires a little or what have you, but Cody Harris is really, so far the winner between those two. Here's Sam Nieto, the number 2 machine on track here right in front of the 9 car and Weinmeister. Someone want to keep here. Watch this here. This is Austin Coop. This is Michael Laraya.
Ooh.
Oh, that's Laraya. I thought I saw someone different. I apologize. That's Laraya that he got up in the wall with.
Oh wow.
And honestly, I mean, Corey, if you're Michael Laraya there, you're just along for the ride, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a hard place to run too wide. So that's super unfortunate for Austin Coop. He's way back now. So
yeah, currently running back in P11. So like I said, likely probably the end of his playoff hopes. We'll wait for the end of the race. Who knows what happens and where things end up here. Here's Sam Nieto. Oh, he's up on the wall. My goodness, that car that got loose and smacked the wall like a fin slapper or a tank slapper.
yeah, thankfully these cars are pretty resilient, so he's probably okay after that, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think that's an important point to bring up, Corey. You and I talked about when this track debuted, pre-COVID, 2018 or 2019. And we ran a different model or car back then where those cars maybe were not as resilient. Any kind of damage could either really ruin that car, aerodynamically or maybe horsepower-wise. But these guys are more like tanks than previous iterations of a cup car.
Oh yeah, for sure. These things can take a beating until you do anything with the toe, and then they're done for. So it's nice for some things, but we can see a replay here.
Well, he got a little bit of help. He got a little bit of help from the 9. Maybe more than a little bit, actually.
But you got to do what you got to do to gain those positions, and Weinmeister just didn't want to back off. So.
And Corey, you said use a little bit of curb sometimes. Cody Harris just used all the curb right there. He just said, yes, please, I'll have more. But he's still leading this track around. But Sam Nieto, is a driver who has never really retaliated, Corey, never broken the rules of RSR. But Sam Nieto is a driver who has a bit of a memory. So I suspect if he gets back around to Weinmeister, he might have something to say about that contact.
Yeah, he might just not err on the side of caution if he catches back up to him.
And especially in his mind, he's going to be more upset because Weinmeister, not a playoff driver. So when you're Sam Nieto and you're going to come into tonight at your 5th or 6th in points, it probably stings a little bit more when a non-playoff car makes contact with you, right?
Oh, 100%. That gets you mad. You're just like, why are you racing me? Like that type of thought. And you gotta have a memory like a goldfish if you want to race well. So.
Ooh, a Ted Lasso reference from Corey Ensign. There you go. I don't think you know that though. You've not seen Ted Lasso,
no,
right?
I have not. No.
Have homework. You gotta be a goldfish, is what Ted Lasso will tell you. And you're right. It means have a short memory. Just let it go and just move on. But here's the battle right now. This is Cody Harris. I mean, likely both these drivers. Well, okay, Cody Harris is definitely almost likely into the round of 8. Peter Irons came into tonight just above the cut line. The difference here, honestly, is Peter Irons is trying to guarantee his playoff spot. Cody Harris is just trying to win.
Yes, for sure. And Cody Harris is putting down the best laps of the night for him. So you know he's running at 110%. That confidence is coming out.
And wasn't that the word he used? He said, be more confident. But right now, he's got it in spades. Here you go. Look at this up through the NASCAR portion of the track. You know, track way out. Now, I notice here, Corey, well, I mean, Harris really has more space to track out there. Irons almost used the full track. Talk me through why you want to track out right there. What's it do for the car? What's it do for you as a driver?
You're just not turning as much, which will carry more speed in the long run. And you want to use as much track as you can. It's racing 101, use all the surface. So if you're using everything like Peter Irons is, you're going to be the faster racer. So
I began to wonder, Corey, you know, something that was new for RSR this season was how the schedule was formed. The driver vote asked that these races occur on the Monday at the start of the schedule. So in previous years of RSR, this race would have been next Monday, so the drivers would have had a full week of Roval practice before coming into RSR to race this track. But now, you know, minus any private practice you're doing, there are no official races they got to do, nothing of that nature. As a driver, would you prefer to kind of come in here, quote unquote, cold and get it over with? Or would you have preferred to have that extra week? Hold on a second. There's Austin Coop really slow, by the way. Let's come back to that in a second. And I think he's just going to call it a day. I think he just parked it. I'm done. That's unfortunate for Austin Coop. But coming back, would you be the kind of driver who wants to race it right now and just get it done with and maybe have everyone have, you know, the same level of no experience? Or would you rather have had it where you could have raced it for a week and then come in here and do open race?
yeah, I mean, I prefer it at the beginning of the week. It kind of sets you up good practice for the week if you're an NIS driver, which I am. And then, yeah, you also, it just relies on your practice, your own practice, which it's kind of fun to see where everyone's at when you join up in the session and you're running practice laps. You're like, oh, I'm actually as fast as this guy or that guy. And yeah.
Well, that's how the driver-led initiative, one that happened this year in RSR, was about moving that schedule and getting it to where we start the weeks with the races and don't end the week with the races. But right now, here is Weinmeister and Ross Cato. So Cato's trying to close this gap here. Weinmeister's one of only, maybe the only driver left in the race, Corey, I believe, without that red splitter and red nameplate. Most of them are all playoff drivers. So Weinmeister, and I think there's one more out here, Matt Danson out here. So two of them just out here racing for fun, not for points.
Yeah, Weinmeister is doing well in third place, so it's a good battle going on. If I was Ross Cato, I'd be like, you got to move out of the way. Let me have the spot, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
It's sort of a weird feeling, isn't it, right, as a driver? It's not really a sense of entitlement, maybe, although maybe that is the right word. It's sort of a sense of just competitiveness. Is that, well, hold on a second here. Let's come back to speaking of competitiveness. Look at this. Through those last chicanes, Peter Irons has really caught Cody Harris here. Do you think Cody Harris maybe got too aggressive and burned up some tires at the start of this run?
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It definitely could be Harris has just missed a corner or two and Peter Irons is just right there on him. But Cody Harris now is just focusing on being fast where he needs to be in those sections right before a passing lane. So we'll see what he can do.
See indeed how this turns out, but we're talking about that sense of saying, hey, you're not a playoff driver, or hey, you're a lapped car, or hey, whatever, you know, I need you to move. It's not really entitlement, right? Maybe it's competitiveness, maybe it's aggression, maybe it's just that in-helmet aggression that comes out. But it's funny, isn't it? You think of it as a commentator or a spectator, to go, he doesn't have to move. But when you're in the car, that's all you're saying is move out of my way.
Oh, 100%. Anytime you come across a lap car or somebody that really isn't in, or like doesn't matter if they do well or not. You're like, I'm important, get out of my way, whatever. But that's just that competitiveness coming out.
Yeah, it can sound like a sense of entitlement if you're not used to it. You can go, oh man, like that's just, you're not entitled to it. But it's not entitled, it's just, you're trying to win, you're trying to perform, you're trying to pass. And you feel like those guys don't really, you know, belong involved in that battle. Well, speaking of battles, here it is, lap 40. And it's that close. It's less than a quarter of a second between Peter Irons and Cody Harris. And man, Corey, it just feels like Peter Irons is waiting to pounce. It just feels like he's just like a lion in waiting, just waiting for that moment to claim his spot.
Oh, 100%. He's right on the bumper right here. I'm excited to see this braking zone if Irons makes a move.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. They're coming down through NASCAR 1 and 2. Harris tracks out pretty far that time. Here, look, this might be the pass. Oh no, contact! Both of them are spun around. This is going to let Weidmeister close the gap, not catch them. Oh my goodness, contact and drama on lap 40 of this race, Corey.
Yeah, that was a huge lunge by Peter Irons. That Irons being the sportsman, just letting Harris back through there. That's cool to see.
Who would have seen a way, but wow, that contact, watch it again. You're right, there's the lunge, and it just felt like, I mean, Harris had nowhere to go. I mean, Irons sort of got in the way, and Harris had no choice but to have a choice to make contact. This is sort of what happened, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's so hard to go too wide through there. Just Irons didn't leave enough track there for his pass attempt, so contact was bound to happen. Thankfully, both of them come out clean from that instant.
Yeah, both clean. You see in the back of some of the camera shots, Jaron Weidmeister made up a lot of time. Not enough to really be involved in this battle, but enough now he can see the cars compared to maybe what was going on a lot ago. You're right, that was a big lunge by Peter Irons. And something I noticed, Corey, by the way, everything was pretty calm on the radio. I was concerned that maybe one or two drivers were going to get kind of worked up and, you know, have a comment or say a word or, whoa, man, that's a big bounce there. But all is good. Look at this here, by the way. I mean, look at that. That's Cody Harris on your screen, Corey. That is one of the most stoic, I mean, maybe not stoic, but calm, rational looks you can see on a driver. He just got spun a lap ago, and he just looks like nothing happened.
That's that goldfish memory.
I'll tell you what, I would not be that stoic. And I've been in rooms with Corey Insing when he's racing. Corey Insing would not look that stoic if he got spun a lap ago.
Oh yeah, I'd have some words to say, but it depends on the situation too. If I was like Harris and had the lead again, it's a lot better than getting put into second place and now I gotta chase the guy down.
Yeah, and you made an important point, which is kind of the sportsmanship and the ethics or morals of Peter Irons. He knew that was his fault. He stopped and let Harris go. I mean, Irons could have easily just have gotten that car turned around and went and made Harris run him down, but Irons, you know, took blame and said, "Hey, that's my fault," and did what he needed to do to let Harris back up here. So now we'll see if Irons can do it again. I mean, at this point, we're now 13, 14 laps to go. It's about a second of a gap. Now Peter Irons might be questioning that decision.
Yeah, we'll see how these next few laps shake out. I think they're both just kind of recovering from that incident and try and get back in their groove.
Here's a battle, 4th, 5th, and 6th, all within sort of the same camera shot. This is Ross Cato, Brandon Gass, and Matt Danson. Now, Brandon Gass can breathe a sigh of relief with Austin Coop towards the back of the field. This probably means Brandon Gass is good. Let's take a look at the back of that playoff field for a second. So it was Austin Coop, Thomas George, Manazzi Major, and Eric Papineau. Thomas George is out of the race. Austin Coop is back there. Manazzi Major is running in P9 behind Brandon Gass. And Papineau is behind Gass as well. So right now, if you're Brandon Gass, you get to breathe a sigh of relief. You still don't want to let up, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's no downtime here. Even if you're got nothing to race for and you're just trying to stay clean, it's still you're not letting up.
Here is that 38 machine going around the track. That's Matt Danson. Had a couple brilliant moments this season. So got himself into the round of 16. Missed a couple of races in that round and wasn't able to secure his win in the third race. So he is now just out here racing for fun. He's Matt Danson. Matt, by the way, Corey's an Australian native. I believe it's like noon Australia time right now. So you think about, we race at night. It's like noon on a Tuesday for Matt Danson. Here, watch, this is Austin Coop. He is way wide again. That may have been what this kind of led to the frustration. Oh, hey, that's a full 360.
I think that's like 500 points right there.
That's what I was saying. Like, yeah, was that Project Gotham Racing? Here's that wreck again. That's Peter Irons. That's the one we saw earlier. Like, Peter Irons went first, and I thought for sure Irons was going to just kind of go. And he did what he thought was the right thing and what he felt was appropriate and let Cody Harris go. Yeah, you're right. Hey, and like, you know, Project Gotham Racing or some forms like Forza Horizon, that Austin Cooper was worth a lot of points.
Oh yeah, you get your drift points, the burnout points. Yeah.
Full 360.
Probably got some good XP out of that.
I certainly did, but here it is. This is Cody Harris and Peter Irons. This gap has closed about 0.2, Corey. We're still 3/4 of a second to the good for Cody Harris as he comes now into turn 14 on the Roval, otherwise known as NASCAR 3 and 4. Now, this chicane I hinted earlier, Corey, this is maybe the last time we see this. You will not see this weekend in real life racing. That chicane has been remodeled.
Yeah, I didn't know that, so I'm excited to see how that is. We've had some exciting moments in the past in NASCAR in that chicane, so interested to see how that all turns out this weekend.
Now, we've seen some playoff hopes dashed in that corner. I think in the first maybe 2 years of the Roval races in separate times, you saw contact and wrecks happen that sort of put major playoff implications on the line. Here's a little bit of a gaggle right here. This is Ross Cato, Matt Danson on the inside, and you said how close that 2 wide racing is, but there it was again.
Yeah, for sure. And then you can see there Cato on the outside of that corner. You kind of get off camber there, lose all the grip. So good on him to at least get by and kind of hold position, I think.
Yeah, he's going to give up a little bit of spots here, but still within reach, still something he can work on. That's Brandon Gass right there, now up to P4. Trying to have himself a great race here. Well, Corey, at least in iRacing, rain not yet available on the NASCAR cars. So this track does not rain in NASCAR races. Knowing how difficult this track is on the dry in iRacing, gosh, if it ever rains here, it's going to be petrifying.
I mean, rain on rain-specific cars or like the road cars is scary in iRacing. I don't know. I don't want to know how it'd be in NASCARs on iRacing.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if we get those wet compounds available that NASCAR does have. We've seen them used a few times at COTA a couple years ago. Different road courses have rained. So we'll see if that comes to mind or what happens here. But there's so much up and down and twist and turn to this road course. It doesn't seem like a lot. You know, when I say that, I'm like, well, it's not a lot. It doesn't look that way compared to like a Sonoma or something. But there's so much elevation change here and so many curves and banking to this infield. I think it would be petrifying if it was wet.
Oh, for sure. The puddles on those hills or the dips would be huge. So.
And Corey, every time Cody Harris on the top of your screen gets across that curbing there on the left side of that chicane, I get so nervous. I mean, that line of safe and not safe is so minute amongst using those curves like that.
Oh, for sure. And then your car gets bounced up into the air, as you can see Cody Harris doing that again in the last chicane. One wrong bounce and you're up into the wall. So
on the bottom of your screen now, you see the battle for P4 going on. This would be Ross Cato, Brandon Gass, and Matt Danson. Right? Those guys are all right there. Now, in the case of either one of these battles, oh, hold on, there's Matt Danson up on the wall. You talked about that. That's a great early call out because Danson just really rubbed the wall and hit the wall right there. So he'll fall out of this battle. But if you're Peter Irons right now, you know, when you're racing someone even experienced as Cody Harris, who's a road to pro racer, a well-known iRacer, been around a long time, what can this being up in his mirror do for you? How much as a race car driver can be up in someone's mirror benefit you?
Yeah, I mean, if you're Peter Irons here, you're trying to be as big as you can. Identify where Cody Harris is slow, where you can have those advantages, and then maybe make some fake moves and whatever, and just try to bait Cody Harris into a mistake.
Yeah, just try to be a menace, try to be up there in that mirror and see if you can make him nervous. Maybe you don't want to make the contact, you don't want to race that way, but sometimes just being there in that presence can be all much more important. But here we are now starting lap 47. We're less than 10 to go. Starting lap 48, rather, less than 10 to go. Realistically, Corey, do you think Peter Irons has what? Maybe one, maybe two more chances at this?
At making a pass, yeah. He's right now trying to catch up, get within about 2/10 or so, right on his bumper, and then try to set himself up into a passing lane or something, or just take advantage of a Cody Harris mistake.
Remember, as we said, the difference in these two cars, Cody Harris wants to win. He's basically locked in without the win by running P1, P2. Peter Irons, I mean, he's safe right now as far as we know with those 10 points at the yellow. But Peter Irons would lock his way in and not be on the bubble with the win. So really it's almost a difference between a want and a need in these two cars. And a need might be a strong word. I'm pretty sure Irons is safe, but those are two different things between wanting a win and needing a win.
Oh, for sure. And Peter Irons, he's got a race for a win. He knows he is faster than Cody Harris by a little bit, and we'll see if he can bring it all together in the last couple laps here.
Well, do you see that wiggle out of Peter Irons? He is pushing hard.
Yeah, he is.
And I always joke with people, Corey, and I say to someone, if you and I can see the wiggle through the broadcast camera, it must have been a big wiggle. Like if we can see it from that far of a camera shot, it probably felt 10 times worse inside the car.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, Peter Irons, Cody Harris is making this track look easy, but I can guarantee you it is not this smooth and this easy.
Yeah, and that's sort of the benefit of watching these broadcasts. It's also a detriment, is you get to see some of the best do this. You get to see, Peter Irons, Cody Harris, Brandon Gass, Matt Danson, all the way down the field. All these guys are great at what they're doing. Agno Phillip, run these races, and they make it look easy. That's the cool part, is you get entertained, get to watch some great side-by-side racing. The detriment is they make it look so darn easy, Corey. When I go out there and play the car, it doesn't work out as well as it does for these guys.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've driven hundreds of laps around here, and it still takes me about at least a half hour to get up to pace where I'm not crashing every other lap.
There's Ross Cato now leading that small group of Brandon Gass and Matt Danson. Danson has caught back up, by the way. Remember, Danson rubbed that wall or hit that wall pretty hard at the start-finish line a couple laps ago, and he has quickly gained back into this battle. So obviously you can see Danson has the speed, just needs to control the car a little better.
Yeah, we'll have to watch him into these hard braking zones here.
Is he going to try the pass?
Ooh.
Contact! Gass apologized. I don't think Gass needed to apologize. I don't think that was Brandon Gass's fault. But Matt Danson pushed that pass at a very unlikely corner.
Yeah, he made that late too. He never even got his nose to Gass's corner or door. That's generally the point that I make, is if my nose gets to the next guy's door, then kind of have room, or should have room. But yeah, late lunge there.
Late lunge indeed. There's Manazzi Major in that Sprite machine. He's right ahead of the leader. So Cody Harris, you're just kind of wanting him to stay high, and that's what Major will likely do. He'll let the leaders by, does not want to be involved in this. And this gap, by the way, is half a second, Corey. It's about the same gap it's been for a while. And here they come down to the final chicane. This is turns 14 and 15, or excuse me, 15 and 16, pardon me. They start this lap here, now starting lap 51.
Yeah, and as you can see there, Cody Harris is definitely faster out of that last chicane than Peter Irons. Gained about 0.3 on him there. So interested to see. It seems like Cody Harris is fast where he needs to be right now to close out this race.
There are only a few laps to go in this race. And Harris now just needs to run a perfect race. Right now, it's not about worrying. Oh, here's the battle again. Look at these guys again side by side. We'll come back to Harris. And this time, Danson does make the pass on Brandon Guess. And there we go. The pass is complete. And now it's Matt Danson up in P5.
Yeah, it seemed like Gas there kind of recognized Danson is faster and figured it'd be faster for both of them if he just lets them by. Danson not in contention for the playoffs, so not really losing a position there.
Right now, if you're Cody Harris, Corey, what are you thinking? You got Peter Irons on your tail. He's never left your tail. Is it just about running the same perfect lap you have been? Is it about mirror driving? What do you do in this scenario?
You got to run big. You got to make that car as big as possible to defend your spot. You know, Peter Irons is slightly faster, so you got to hit your marks and make sure that you become hard to pass.
Little wiggle I thought I saw from Harris there. The car got a little sideways, but he got it gathered up. Now we come up through this infield. This is 3, 4. The next two corners are 5 and 6. Look how wide they run here, Corey. Just outside that blue painted line. Now down into 5 and through 6. And that gap is closing ever so slightly.
Yeah, Peter Irons a lot faster through this technical section here. Like I said earlier, hardest part of the track. Looks like Harris got a good run coming out of that corner, right where it matters. So I'm not expecting a move by Irons here going into this braking zone.
Now, speaking of that move, there's things I call in racing sometimes live science experiments. It means you do something earlier in the race to know how it would work later in the race. So if you're Peter Irons, what did you learn from that run about 10 laps ago?
Pretty much learned how far back gain position. So, okay, maybe if I can get a little closer going into that braking zone, I can make that move. That's right about what you learned.
Here, scrub the wall there. So the top view is the back view from Cody Harris. The bottom view was the front of the car behind. And Peter Irons is still just trying to be a menace. He's trying to be right there up on Cody Harris. He's trying to see if he can cause a mistake without making car contact.
So Harris is doing what I call being hard to pass, or being fast where he needs to be. So you can see in these technical corners, Irons is right on his tail, but then coming out of this corner here, Harris probably will get the run, and now Irons is going to have a hard time passing him.
Yeah, some people would call it being as wide as possible. Is another term you're hearing in racing. It means making that car as wide as you can, just being there, being everywhere. And see, Irons looked a little inside contact. Hold on. And they both saved it. My goodness, how did Cody Harris save the car with that contact in the back of it?
It seemed like a bump draft, like it was perfectly in the middle, a little bit off to the side. Harris would have been around.
Look at that face. He's still stoic. He got pushed through the chicane, and it's like nothing. It's just like a normal Sunday drive.
That is the face of a focused man right there.
That is the face of a focused man. Here we are, 2 laps to go. Starting lap 54. If you're Peter Irons, Corey, you likely have 1 shot left. Where would you make that 1 shot? Where would you try? Where would you want to try to make that pass?
It's going to be going into that back straight chicane. You're going to want a good run out of turn 8. Better than what you have been, and try to make that lunge like he failed to do earlier on. That's the best place to pass you.
And if you're Peter Irons, you got to be kind of frustrated, Corey. You've tried making the lunge. That didn't work. You tried maybe pushing from behind. That didn't work. Now you got to be thinking, what the heck do I have to do to pass Cody Harris in the chicane?
Yeah, that's gonna be backing up his turn 7 or like his turn 8 entry, and then getting more throttle through to carry more speed. It's gonna be the only way he can do that to gain speed into there. Or he could have a faster run out of this chicane and make a pass in the very last chicane, but that's harder to do. So
no contact that time. They're now down through turn 14. They'll take this right here for the penultimate time. Turns 15 and 16. Cody Harris takes the white flag from Barney the Flagman. Peter Irons 1 lap left to make this pass happen. 1 to go at the Roval.
This is such an exciting battle.
This is a great battle between two of the best RSR. Oh, look, Peter Irons is right there. This, I think we're going to see contact before this race is over. I really do.
Yeah, Irons could pull a Hail Mary move here. Almost does, a little bit of contact there. But he's going to try and make a pass where you don't normally. See if he gets a good run out of turn 8.
Oh, scrub the wall. That may be killing the run right here for Peter Irons. Let's wait and see. You saw the little bit of smoke, means he touched the wall, running a slightly lower line. This is likely where the action is going to happen. This will be where the fireworks pop off. They're now down the back straight, Corey.
Irons is going for it. Never mind.
He backed out of it. I don't think he had the speed. I think that scrubbing the wall killed it. Harris slowed through the corner. This is now a close gap. White flag is out. 3 corners left. Turn 14 right here. Peter Irons lining up. Corey, I think
I'm expecting a Hail Mary.
Turns 15 and 16 in the chicane. Cody Harris trying to win once again in RSR. Peter Irons not going to get there.
Irons
and
can't
Cody
do it.
Harris wins at the Roval.
Wow. That's some good battling right there. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Smile. Oof. What a finish by Cody Harris. What a win. A way to lock himself in to the next round. So we know right now that Bradley Burke, Cody Harris guaranteed in by their wins in this current round of 12. So as Cody Harris comes and cools down this lap, Corey, Peter Irons did everything he could. I mean, there's nothing more Irons could have done short of probably just wrecking Cody Harris.
Yeah, for sure. They just ran a good battle there, and Irons did all he could there. It's hard to pass. He was fast in those technical sections, but that wasn't enough to make the pass.
What a great finish. Cars are still crossing the line, so in a moment, the results will pop up and we'll read through. Here they are, in fact. Let's go ahead and take a look. Cody Harris, P1, with Peter Irons, P2, Jaron Weimeister, P3, Matt Danson, P4. What a run for Matt Danson. Ross Cato, Brandon Gass, Sam Nieto, and Michael Lariah fell back to P8. That's everyone on the lead lap. And then Corey Benazzi Major and Austin Coop, your first 2 cars, 1 or more laps down. Then we'll go Eric Papanow, Agno Phillip, Thomas George, and Steven So. These are the cars that had a harder time tonight. And that is a look top to bottom at your RSR race results. Oh, take a breath, everybody, because that battle is over. Oh, that was maybe one of the most intense battles we've seen on a road course in a long time.
Yeah, you don't see that too often at road courses, at least not for the lead. So that's really exciting. Just lap after lap, not knowing if the pass is going to come or not. So
see Cody Harris here, those long laps, still trying to get cooled down, gets it down to the Roval logo and burns it out. Go ahead, young man. You have earned this burnout with a long night of Roval racing. Wow, I mean, bumps and bangs and hits and dives and curbs and everything else. What Cody Harris had to avoid to successfully win this race and lock into the next round. Well, Corey, you and I are going to do some post-race interviews in a moment, and then in the background, Evan Pasoko and the admins are going to try and get the points done before we exit this broadcast. We'll know exactly who is into the round of 8 before we sign off for the evening. Man, Cody Harris is having fun out there.
yeah, I don't blame him. I'd be burning it to the ground too.
Look at this. All those burnouts, Corey, not hit a wall yet. And that sounds funny. He almost made a liar out of me. I see that sounds funny, but that's harder to do than it sounds, to do that many burnouts and not hit a wall.
Oh yeah, for sure. Keeps on doing those 180s, so I like to hold the brake and just ride in one spot and burn it to the ground there.
And he's trying to leave his mark on the track and get a few burnouts in. Well, I think he's finally done and celebrating, and I'm sure excited is Cody here. So we'll wait for him to go ahead and join the broadcast booth in a moment. We're going to go ahead and give him a moment to get himself gathered here. Boy, I mean, Corey, that was a great 55 laps of racing. Only the one caution due to the stage. And that's something that RSR does only on the road courses. Next week at the Oval, there is still halfway points, but no cautions. So we're going to have those things happen. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk with him now. Let's go and bring him up. I'm just going to kind of yank him into the broadcast booth. Your race winner once again in RSR. His name is Cody Harris. Cody, you've won at the Roval.
Yeah, that was an intense battle there. I think Peter had a little more pace than me throughout the night, especially on the front end of the run. The first half of the last half of that first run, I kind of was matching him, and then I knew I had to get a good start there. And yeah, when I saw the green lights on my screen there, I just punched the gas. And I don't know what happened behind me or below, but got a good start. Then he got back around me, hit the wall, and I passed him. And then, yeah, just trying to manage and stay behind, or stay ahead of him, keep it behind me.
So twice, you and Peter had contact of some form in like the last maybe 10, 15 laps inside that bus stop-ish chicane on the back straight. The first time, it felt like he kind of took blame and he sort of let you go. The second time, he just like bump drafted you through the chicane. So I want to know, how the heck do you get bump drafted in a chicane and not wreck a NASCAR vehicle?
I don't know. I guess I kind of knew it was coming, so I kind of positioned my car. I saw that he was close enough that he'd probably drive, because he was driving the entries, but I was always driving deep on the entries, but I was always beating him on exit, which I think was the key to staying ahead there. As long as I would get good launches and keep that gap where he really couldn't get there. Yeah, you can hit the brake a little bit too when someone does that, and that kind of settles your car down too. So I think that's what helped me there.
Well, we know right now, as they're doing the points in the background, that you are locked into the round of 8. Now, the tracks are Vegas, Homestead, and Martinsville. In a way, is this sort of the easiest set of 3 that we've faced so far?
I don't know about for me. I'm kind of good at the odd tracks, or I do better at the odd tracks like road courses. And I like Martinsville a lot. Get around there pretty good. And I mean, I figured out something, I think, with managing my tires on the 1.5 miles, so maybe that'll come into play with the long green runs we've been having, and hopefully have some good finishes there.
All right, well, listen, you and I have a deal with Evan Pasoko. And by winning this race, you've locked yourself one notch closer to making the Michigan native do the chant. I don't know if that's exciting for you. That's exciting for me. All season I've been in this booth, and I can't get Evan to talk a nice thing about Ohio. So you've got to do this. You're pulling through for us right now. I want you to know that.
Yes, hopefully we can make that happen. It'll be a challenge. If Agnell gets through, which I'm sure he will, he'll be very tough at Phoenix. He's really got that place figured out. So, but yeah, one step closer.
All right, well, listen, we're going to end it the same way we always do. OH.
IO.
indeed. Well, Cody, you look spent. You look exhausted. Go enjoy your evening, and we'll talk next week.
Sounds good. Thank you guys for putting this on.
You're very welcome. That's Cody Harris, P1, your race winner tonight. Corey, he looked exhausted.
Oh yeah, he was all sweaty, and yeah, that's hard battling. They'll do that to anyone. So.
Well, now Corey Ensing is going to catch up with our P2 racer, Peter Irons. Corey, go ahead.
Yeah, Peter, you want to walk us through those last few laps trying to catch up to Cody Harris there?
Yeah, after he got by me initial launch, I knew it'd be a struggle to get back by him. So eventually I had an opportunity to get to the inside, and I just overdrove it too far, and I wasn't able to leave him lane to that backstretch chicane. Probably gonna split the wreck. So then I'm like, you got the position back because I just absolutely wiped you out. So you get the position back so we can race fair again. And yeah, just trying to get my head back in the game, try to ignore that wreck that I just caused. That's pretty embarrassing. Try to get that out, catch Cody, and then now I got to figure out how to pass him again. and I just wasn't able to pass him again. It's what these fix-it-ups at the Roval, it's really just a game of whether you want to risk it and probably end up wrecking, or just not try to pass at all. I think it's just really difficult if you get the lead to try to get it back. So I did what I could. Unfortunately, fell short, but glad Cody won because he deserved to win after getting the lead. So he did a good job defending. So yeah, he just did a good job.
Yeah, good job for sure. But you did a good job in that first half of the race, and just keeping up with pace. But kind of what happened on that restart? I saw you hit the wall there, which got Cody the lead. Did you just overcook it, or?
Yeah, so that launch was weird. I didn't know if I should wait for green flag or if there's some sort of restart zone that I should go in, because we're launching in that last chicane, which is really weird. So I was all the way to the left of that last chicane when the green flag dropped, since I was just gonna wait for green flag. And that caused me to have to turn 90 degrees and launch at the same time. So my fire off was really slow, allowing Cody to get a really good launch. And then behind us, because of that really weird launch zone, there was a big wreck, and that caught my attention. So I got Cody on my outside. I'm looking at the mirror of that big wreck, and then I just missed that braking point and overshoot the corner. Thankfully, I didn't take Cody out there. I just took myself out and let Cody go by. So glad I only wrecked me that time. Well, yeah, I just missed the point looking at the wreck.
Happens to the best of us. How do you feel going forward into I think you're in the round of 8, so this next round with Las Vegas, Homestead, and Martinsville, do you feel confident going into that, or?
Yeah, I'm glad we're back at a normal track for once. I feel like it's been a while since we got to a normal oval, so I can't wait to do that. I'm pretty excited for Homestead. We don't go to Homestead very often, and I love that place, so I feel pretty confident. I feel like I can win one of those and lock myself in the championship 4. That would be optimal. I don't want to go to Martinsville having to do something like I had to do here today, where I'm +4, kind of having to get a lot of halfway points, and just need to have a good first 2 races, set up that last race.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good job tonight. It was awesome watching you, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, that is Peter Irons, definitely locked into the round of 8, so a great night for Peter Irons. Let's wrap the night up by talking to the man who played spoiler to a certain extent, Jaron Weinmeister. You had an exciting night at the Roval.
An insane night. Made a couple major mistakes in the first stage, but thankfully was able to recover in the second stage after getting through that first lap wreck. Definitely took some luck there.
So there's the first lap wreck in the second half of the race after yellow. There's also a little bit of contact between you and Sam Nieto as well in the second half. Have you and Sam talked about it? Do you feel need to talk about it? What's your perspective on that wreck?
Haven't talked about it. I don't think we will. A couple laps before I passed him, he got loose getting into turn 1, and I ran into him which was his fault. And then coming to the final chicane there, he just got a little aggressive over the curbs and just jumped his car into the wrong place, and I felt I had an opportunity, so I had to use the bumper a little bit, but felt like it was an earned move after getting into him earlier.
Well, P3 tonight. At one point, when Weinmeister and Harris wrecked, I sort of thought maybe, depending upon the wreck, you might be P1, but they got it gathered up pretty quickly. How aware were you of that wreck, and what could you see or not see from how far back you were?
Yeah, I definitely saw a bunch of smoke into that backstretch chicane. Thought there was going to be an opportunity, but unfortunately they were just a little too far ahead for me to catch up, and I definitely didn't have the pace to match those two. And Cody had a great drive at the end there to win the race.
Well, next up is Las Vegas. So sort of weird to say it's a return to a mile and a half. It's like we've not done that many of those in RSR in a while. I know we did Kansas a couple weeks ago, but besides that, so as we go back to Vegas, are you going to be there? Are you excited for it? What's the goal for next week?
Yep, I'll definitely be there. Looking to build on our momentum here. Mile and a halfs probably aren't my strongest suit in the next gen car, but definitely going to put our full effort. I just want to thank all my team, XPM, and family and friends who watch every Monday night. And thanks to you guys for putting this on every week. It's really enjoyable.
Well, thank you for being here, Jaron. Great run tonight. Great job, P3, and we'll see you in 1 week at Vegas.
Yep, see ya.
All right, that is Jaron Weinmeister, and that is our podium interviews for Charlotte Roval. Corey, 55 laps, realistically about an hour and a half of racing, and we saw lots of beats, lots of beating, lots of banging, lots of curbs, and a lot of excitement in the last couple laps.
Yeah, those races can go one of two ways. Either pretty boring, all strung out, or they can be really exciting. And I'm glad tonight we had a really exciting race.
Well, probably won't be strung out is next week's race at Vegas. It sort of races a little bit like a pack race. You want to be right there involved in a race all night long. That broadcast kicks off 1 week from tonight, October 14th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Maybe our friend Evan Pasoko will be back. He'll hopefully be home and things are okay for him. But Corey, your first night out, you did pretty well.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It's a different perspective watching versus racing.
Yo. Also want to give a shout out to our producer, Ramiro Cisneros, pushing all the buttons and making all the cameras happen. But I am Derek Watson saying good night from the Roval, and congrats to Ohio native Cody Harris locking his way in to the round of 8. Yeah. 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 Yeah.